Welcome to another Demarcation Media. I don't actually know if I should call this an action figure review or a model kit review because it's kind of both. Now, most of you may know I am a Halo person. I primarily review Halo. That's kind of my main thing. I'm not really much of a Transformers person, but I could be. This might do it, guys. So this right here is the Blockies Galaxy version rollout case of figures. And this was sent to me by Blockies, so huge thank you to them for sending this along. If you want to get this or any of their other figures, I will put the links to all their different places down in the description. They're on Instagram, YouTube, they've got their own website. You can find these on AliExpress. They're all over the place. So let's go ahead and pop this box open. I guess real quick before we do that, let's take a look at the box. So the front of the box has all of our figures on there. It says, "Come gather your Cybertron army." We've got the Transformers official licensing on there. We got a bunch of Autobots on this side, less Decepticons on this side. We've got some like glyph looking things here. There's the Blockies logo up there. There's kind of like a metallic-y sheen to these words, and they're like raised. On the side, we get to see that. This side, information that nobody reads, but Hasbro official licensing. There's that. And then here we get to see that there is kind of like rarity charts, and there's a secret rare, which is kind of cool. Makes me think of Mega in that way. So this is a full case. This is basically what you would see in a retail environment. How am I supposed to do this? Bruh. When in doubt, X-Acto knife. Actually, you know what? That was a bad piece of advice. Don't do that. That does not apply to most scenarios. In this case, it did. So we're going to hinge this open. Can I get this little thing to work? This is really unnecessary. Oh, bro, I'm ripping it. How do they do this in like retail stores? I don't even. Oh, I see. That goes like that. Wow, look at that. That's cool. So now we've got these little boxes, and these little things are what actually contains the figures. There's lots of like rainbow metallic, which is pretty cool. Look, we got, let's see, Optimus Prime, Jazz, Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, Blue Streak, the secret guy, Megatron, of course, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. Here we get to see Optimus. Here we get to see Megatron. Dude, this would be so flippin' cool to see in actual stores. And then we get to see a 1-to-1. So they're going to be about this tall. So I'm going to go ahead and build all of these. These will have been built live, so if you want to go watch that, it'll be up in the corner. And then we will take a closer look once all of these dudes are put together. There we go. All 9 are assembled. Unfortunately, I did not get the secret figure, so I won't be able to show that off. However, I do want to say A++, like full points, fantastic, just really amazing presentation all the way through. From the way this box is, to the way the little boxes are, to the way that the figures come out. It's just, the whole experience is highly collectible, super fun, and it's really easy and chill to put them together. All of the figures come on runners like this, very much like Gundam, but unlike Gundam, you just kind of have to pinch them out. You could cut them out if you wanted like total clean cuts, but you don't really need to. Also, they are numbered basically like Gundams, but you also don't really need that. And once you build one, you can kind of understand how to put the other ones together. When you first open the box, the parts will come in 2 bags like this, so you don't see right away who you're getting. And that's, again, full marks, full points for the presentation. And then all of them come with a generic instructions sheet that uses Optimus Prime as an example. They're all built around this kind of Lego-looking torso, which is pretty cool. I think it's a very clever design. They have their system set. It's very clear, easy to follow. You sandwich the chest plate on, similar to the way that a Mega Spartan's chest plate goes on. And
yeah, basically all the figures follow this general assembly. However, the ones that need more specific building, you can see here. So Megatron has a little bit of a different assembly for his gun and his back piece. And then you can see Prowl and Blue Streak have slightly different, so does Jazz. Yeah, so basically you just get to see everything that you need to see here. So we're going to use Jazz for this comparison because I feel like Jazz is probably my favorite out of this whole first wave. And then I want to bring in my Sig Fig because that's the first most obvious comparison. So you can see him next to a Mega figure. Obviously, they're not quite to scale, but I think these guys look actually fantastic side by side, and I could see myself doing photos with them, like together in scenes or even stop motions, because yeah, the Transformers should be taller, but it doesn't look bad. Here is Lego. It's a Lego Neo. Again, pretty close, a little above the knee. Just because, here's a AliExpress unnamed, unbranded, or whatever Iron Man. So those guys don't scale as well. And then I feel like another pretty relevant comparison would be a high-grade Gundam. This is a pretty standard high-grade. That is the Black Death ground Gundam. You know, that's pretty much a standard high-grade size, so these guys are definitely smaller than high grades. And then just for kicks, here is a Black Series Mando. Definitely not to scale. And then just because I love doing this, because this guy dwarfs most of the figures I end up looking at, a 1000 Toys Master Chief, which I would love to get the rest of the 1000 Toys Spartans at some point. That's an aside. But yeah, so hopefully that gives you an idea of the scale of these little dudes. I feel like it's pretty much a perfect scale, and they're really easy to just carry around and fiddle with. So yeah, pretty much perfect size. And again, I do love how they look next to Mega. So let's look at some of the details of these figures. And we're going to start with Jazz first because I've got him on hand. Instantly, these figures have made me appreciate the G1 designs more. I feel like the original ones, because of the way they were animated, were kind of long and like, they look weird. But this brings a very blocky, chibi look to them, and I think it works brilliantly. Big feet, big hands, kind of like, I don't know, just very wide proportions, and I really like it. I might be biased because that's kind of how Mega is a little bit, but I think it works really well for these particular figures. There's also a lot of decoration going on, so I don't really know what to call it. It's not really print. I'm probably going to just call it print, but it's like some weird mix between printing and decaling, but you have it in a lot of places on this figure, more than I was expecting. On the back, there's like the window and some extra detailing. The door wings have stripes on them. The front of the car has a bunch of detailing. Obviously, that was kind of necessary, but they didn't have to put the detailing on the front of the legs. They didn't have to put the detailing on the torso underneath. And then also his visor is a print as well. I believe that's actually like painted on or whatever. I thought it was a separate piece, and it confused me during the build because, you know, I figured, oh, that'll be a separate piece, and it wasn't. And the printing is just that crisp. So looks-wise, Jazz is fantastic. Really, really love the way he turned out. Next up, we've got old Ironhide. And the first thing that I know a lot of people are going to latch onto and point out is the fact that his lower arms are dark gray when they really should be red. I'm not really sure why Blockies chose to do the gray when he just doesn't have gray there. I don't really know. I don't think it looks bad, but it's not going to be 100% accurate for those of you who are really diehard Transformers fans. The front of the torso is pretty cool. It's got like crack in his chest windshield. He's got less print going on overall. His face looks pretty good though. His eyes are printed pretty well, and that's pretty much the whole of the detailing, like print-wise. His back has some nice molded detailing, but there's no more print on him. I feel like he's one of the more plain figures from this wave. I am not a huge Ironhide fan, but I do appreciate this figure, and I do think that having him in the lineup was pretty much essential because, I mean, it's Ironhide. You can't not have Ironhide. Oh, I forgot. There's a little print on his, like, groin area as well. So not a ton of detailing going on, a little bit of inaccuracies, but, I mean, it's Ironhide. You got to have an Ironhide if you're going to have Transformers at all. Another super essential character is Ratchet. You can't have a war or you can't fight a successful war without your medic. And he is sporting the red cross on his shoulders, which is super cool. Instantly, you're like, yeah, he's a medic. Also, the fact that he's bright red and white. He's got the same face and overall like base build as Ironhide, but then he's got that Gundam V-fin looking headpiece that has some print, and then he's got like a heart rate monitor on his chest, which I think is kind of funny, seeing as Autobots, they don't really have hearts the same way humans do, so do they have a heartbeat? I don't really know. But he's also got some print on his like groin piece and then also on the torso underneath. Again, you really can't have a Transformers lineup without Ratchet, so it's really nice to see him here. This is definitely not my favorite design of Ratchet, but I feel like, again, the G1 looks with this style is just perfect. Next up, we have Blue Streak. Can't have a lineup without Blue Streak. Gonna be honest, I actually have no clue who Blue Streak is. I didn't even know Blue Streak was a character in Transformers. Like, this wave has educated me that Blue Streak is indeed a character. That being said, he looks fantastic. It's a very retro color scheme with the like gray and red and blue, and just the way it is, it makes it feel very retro. But it's grown on me a lot, and he's pretty cool. Like, he's got the door wings like Jazz. He's got these like rocket looking things on his shoulders, which is super cool. Those are articulated. You can kind of move them around. His head articulation is a bit limited by them, but not too much. And then his head has this like kind of funny smirk. And then he's also got a V-fin looking headpiece. Not quite the same as Ratchet's, but it's got the same kind of Gundam style, which I'm like, I can get behind that. And then he's got a bunch of detailing on the front of his legs, on the car front, obviously on the doors. That's where his blue streak is. So overall, really cool character, and probably close behind Jazz in terms of how much I like the design. And again, I didn't know this guy was a thing. Like, he's just super obscure, I guess. Next up, we have Prowl. Now, Prowl, Blue Streak, and Jazz all share a lot of parts. Blue Streak and Prowl are basically just identical. They're color swaps, or colorways, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Colorways of each other. Jazz has different pieces with the wheels and whatnot. But Prowl is one I had heard of. I didn't really know much about him. I just had heard Transformer Prowl. This guy is also pretty cool. He's got the same everything like Blue Streak, like I said. So he's got the V-fin, he's got the door wings, he's got the little rocket things. And this guy is a police car, so he's got all the police decaling. These decals feel a little rougher, like the print quality or whatever feels a little rougher than some of the other ones, and his eyes are printed slightly lower down. I feel like that's a bit of a nitpick because the end result is still fine, but it was just something I noticed. But on the back, we've got like the headlights, or sorry, not the headlights, the emergency lights, and then the doors say police. The chest plate has police on it as well, and then he's got the same kind of smirking face as Blue Streak. Our Autobot lineup is completed by Optimus Prime himself. Now, this is not the metallic Optimus Prime that I was hoping to get my hands on, but he looks really good. Like, this is the best looking G1 Optimus Prime figure that I've ever seen, hands down. He's also got a ton of print going on. He's got print on the sides of his legs. He's got a bunch of print on his shoulders. He's got print on his forearms, print on his little groin piece, print on his chest, and print on his head. Now, the little vent in the middle of his forehead isn't printed. They did that in later versions of the figure, so I don't really know why this version didn't get it, but it still looks good regardless. He's even got his little backpack, and that's even a removable piece, so you might be able to give him a jetpack if they give one of the other characters a jetpack further down the line. Obviously, these are not transformable, but that's the way that I like my Transformers. I know it's weird, but yeah, this dude, absolutely, like, literally, he is the Transformer, so it's perfect. It's actually perfect. I don't really feel like I need to do much more to convince you that, like, if you like the G1 design, you need this Optimus Prime. You just need this Optimus Prime. So that was a lot of Autobots that we just looked at. So now we need some Decepticons. And starting off, the 3 Decepticons from this wave, we have Skywarp. Now, I didn't really know who Skywarp was. He's one of the main Seekers, I guess, from the series. And he uses a base that we will later see for Starscream in Wave 2. it's pretty nice. We've got the jet cockpit on the front. The little wings have print on both sides. The front of the legs have print. You've got a face that's really well done. It's got like little lines in it, little carved, engraved lines, and those red eyes with the black outline. I almost wish the Autobots' blue eyes had a black outline as well. He's got shoulder cannons, so those can be like swiveled around and used to shoot at Autobots with. So yeah, really cool. And I love the color scheme, this like light lilac-ish purple and then the dark kind of gray black. Really nice pairing. You get a spot of gray for the face and like the diaper and on the knees. Really cool. I'm not much of a collector of the bad guys. I prefer getting the good guys, but I'm actually really happy to get this guy. Thundercracker is up next, another Transformer. I really did not know who he was, and he shares everything with Skywarp. All the parts are the same. He's just got different printing and different colors, so he's got like the red stripes with some white, and then he's got the blue and gray color scheme instead. Shoulder cannons, they can be articulated. You can see he can kind of get into some shooting poses there, and then his face is also identical. His print for the chest pops really, really nice against that blue. And overall, really just super solid figure. I love the aesthetic here. The wings do limit the articulation a little bit, but we'll talk about that later. Looks-wise, though, absolutely nailed it. Again, this is one I'm not super familiar with, so I can't really speak to the accuracy of Skywarp or Thundercracker in terms of the color balancing and whatnot. I just think they look good as figures. So they've taken characters that I found, like the Decepticon Seekers, I'm like, I don't really care about them. They're just there to get beat up. And Blockies has somehow made them look interesting and kind of cute. And so now I'm like, oh, okay, I'm cool with collecting these guys. And rounding out our Decepticons, we have the destroyer of Cybertron himself, Megatron. Again, Blockies has taken the G1 design and chibified it, and it looks really good. I particularly like the way that they did dark red for his joints. Adds a perfect little pop of color. So nice. And also, Megatron has a lot of unique pieces. His back plate, his front chest plate, his shoulders, his head, they're all unique to him. As far as I'm aware, I don't know if they use it elsewhere in other waves, but in this wave, there are no parts on his shoulders or whatever that's reused. The arm cannon pegs on there, and there are pieces that you can build onto it to make it more complete. And then he's got that little other barrel on his back. That piece was the only really weird part. It kind of like fits in there, but doesn't fit in there super solidly. But yeah, really a very well done version of G1 Megatron. You gotta have the proper lineup. You gotta round out your Transformers collection. And if you got an Optimus Prime, you're gonna need a Megatron. So I was really happy to get this guy. Putting these little guys in a fight, I almost want to try like a stop motion fight, is gonna be a lot of fun. So now let's talk accessories. We're just gonna kind of work our way through. You get these little thingamajiggies with every Transformer. It's like this little symbol thing. It's got an Autobot symbol on one side and Decepticon symbol on the other. It says can be attached into any hole. There's not really many holes on these figures to do that with. You can kind of plug it into the forearm, and you can build these guys with the holes on the inside or the outside. Most of them tell you to build it with the holes on the inside, but yeah, I don't really know what these are for. They're kind of nice little collectible bits, but they don't do all that much. But you get 2 per figure, so this is a set of gray, and you also get it in various colors, so you get white, red, and dark red from Megatron. In addition, you get extra neck and foot pegs. You get at least 1 per figure. They come in clear. And then you get extra hands. So every figure comes with a pair of fisted hands. This is both for punching and for holding things. So you got the peg hole in there. And wait, let me check actually. Oh, okay, so they can hold their little icon too to indicate their allegiance. So we've got the fist hands, and then each figure comes with a pair of open hands, 2 open expressive hands, which I was super happy about. Those 2 hands, like fist hands and open hands, is basically all you need to get a lot of really nice poses, so I'm really happy about that. Those blue ones were from Optimus. The gray ones come on a bunch of different figures. And then Optimus and Megatron come with an extra hand each. This is Optimus's pointy finger, and then there's a gray one for Megatron. Really nice, extra detail. Super happy about that. We obviously get Optimus's blaster. Really nicely detailed all around. More detailed even than like some of the bigger model kits that I've seen. And it just literally flew away. But yeah, very nicely detailed. Very nicely detailed. Here's Megatron's cannon. You can see detailing on that. There's like kind of vent on the back. And Megatron comes with a blast effect. This is a very goofy looking blast effect, but it just pegs into the barrel like so. There you go, blast effect. And you can also peg it into Optimus's blaster. Really neat. All of the rest of the Transformers minus the Seekers come with these little pistols. Ratchet and Ironhide also come with the blast effects, and the way you attach them onto every other gun, including the Seeker's arm cannons, is there's a space on the bottom, and you kind of position it like that and then clip it on, like so. Do not try to just shove it through because you'll break it. So you just peg that on like that. So you get a bunch of these little pistols. You got some gray ones. This one's from Jazz. This one's Prowls, I think, and this one's Blue Streaks. Very nicely detailed. They're just super small. And then you get a axe, the Energon axe for Optimus. And I got to get in a little closer because look at the detailing in that axe blade. That's really well done. My only complaint about this is the peg, or like, it's not really a peg hole, just the hole. But the way this works, you just take the hand, pop the hand out, pop that in, and you can kind of rotate it around. It can kind of angle a little bit, which I think is weird, but there you go. Optimus has his Energon axe. And then lastly, you get a bunch of these stands. They're kind of Lego-esque, big studs. You can stick the feet on there. It holds pretty well. And then, in addition, you can take these and you can slide them together like this, and you can create yourself kind of a continuous line. Actually, I think I did that backwards. They stick together very, very sharply. Like, they stick together well. There we go. See? So now you can kind of create yourself a continuous display. There's also peg holes in here. I don't really know what the peg holes are for, because you can't plug your little meters in, or your little indicators. And I guess maybe they'll have some flight stands or something in the future. And then we've got the Blockies logo there. You can see Blockies are Baluk. I don't know how to say it. I'll just put it up on the screen. I think that's probably what that says because that's their Chinese name. So yeah, you are not left wanting for accessories with these figures. How is the articulation though? That's what we're going to find out. So we've got Optimus here because I feel like he's the best representation of it. So what we're going to do is we've got the shoulders. So the shoulders can move up like that. You can kind of put them up to there. You can move them down like that. They have a little bit of forward and back, but not much. Obviously, full 360. You can get a bit of hinging out of the shoulders themselves, and you can hinge out to like here, and then it starts bumping. You have a rotation here, a bend, which is a little bit better than 90, ball joint for the fist. Head is on a ball joint, so it kind of just, does its thing. Rotation for the waist, no like ab crunch at all, which I think is fine. I don't think that they really needed that. Legs can kick way forward. They have, for being a single joint, they have a pretty good bend there. They can go out. Oh, bro can do a full split. Look at that. Feet forward and back pretty well. You can get some nice side movement too. And I think that's the entirety of their articulation. So there's really not much that's getting in the way here. My test is always like, can they kneel down? And I'd say that Optimus can kneel down pretty well. Hang on. Come on, buddy. There we go. That's a pretty nice kneeling pose. Now, there are some variations. So, like, for example, Blue Streak, he's got the wings and the little rockets. So the wings can rotate down and up. The rockets can rotate pretty far and move up and down. a little bit, not too much. His head bumps up against, well, actually not really that much. No, if you move the rockets out of the way, you really are not limited too much by those. The one figure that I found had the most limiting articulation is Megatron. That's not really saying much. That's just because he's got these sticking up bits on his shoulders, so you can't get as much. So Optimus can T-pose. He can assert his dominance, but Megatron cannot assert his dominance because he can't get into a T-pose. So obviously Optimus wins. And then the Seekers get somewhat limited by their wings because you get bumping. But the arm cannons do rotate around. You can get them pretty much wherever you want them to go, and you can get them out of the way pretty easily. But yeah, you will bump up against the wings if you're not careful. Now, real quick, I just wanted to talk about a couple of my concerns. I don't have many concerns about these figures because the quality feels really solid. The parts feel almost better quality than like Gundam. Like they're solid. They're very nice and solid. The joints are a little on the softer side, so I don't feel like I'm worried about breaking them. Like nothing feels like it's just going to snap or explode randomly. There were some concerns while I was building the stream when people saw these pegs that it's clear plastic, therefore more brittle. It doesn't feel more brittle to me, but you know, it's possible. I don't know how it's going to age. I'm not really concerned about that too much. I don't know how the decals are going to age, though. That concerns me a little bit because, you know, we've got all these brilliant details, and I would rather not see them, like, scratch and chip over time. They don't feel weak, but that's just something I'm slightly worried about. But my real main, like, complaint, if I were to voice a complaint, is the fact that the joints tend to be a little on the loose side, like Optimus. He's got some little bit of wiggly joints going on, and kind of other Transformers in this line have it as well. So that's my real complaint, is the joints tend to be a little on the loose side. Now, obviously, you can fix that pretty easily. It's not a huge complaint. It's just something I'm like, yeah, the joints get kind of loose. Or they don't get kind of loose. They just start out kind of loose. Like Optimus's swivel here and his shoulders were loose from the get-go. So I don't know how they'll stay. Like, are they going to stay just this loose? Are they going to get more loose? I don't really know. But that's my only real complaint is like, yeah, the joints are kind of loose. Well, there you have it. That is the Blockies Galaxy version, Wave 1 rollout. These really are my ideal Transformers figures. They're small. They're fun to build, they're fun and easy to pose, they have great stability because of their big chunky feet, they have plenty of accessories to make things fun. They're just great. I am really impressed. As I said, my only real complaint was the loose joints, and then, you know, slightly concerned about the longevity of the decals, but dude, other than that, like, why haven't I not found these sooner? Like, I am fully invested in this line now, and I will collect as many as I can. I would love to get my hands on the Chase Optimus. I would love to get my hands on the other two waves. And there's also their classic class, which I have a few of, and I will look at some point. I'm very, very happy. And again, a huge thank you to Blockies for sending these along. Each figure retails for $6.99, which I feel like is very fair for what you get. And, I mean, you know, you get a lot of accessories. You get the hands, you get the guns, you get the stands. The build experience, again, super fun. I feel like I would even allow like a smaller child to play with these. You could easily pop the arms off. I feel like that's the most flimsy thing here. But I would be totally okay with like letting one of my younger brothers play with these because they don't feel like they're going to break. You definitely get way more Autobots in this wave. And it seems to be a trend for Blockies, like in these blind boxes, you will have just more Autobots than Decepticons, which I'm not really opposed to because I like getting Autobots, but makes the fight off kilter, which is funny because typically it's off kilter the other direction. If you like what you see here, go get some because I promise you, you will not regret it. I found these on a random whim and I am so happy. Like I said, fully invested in the line. Really looking forward to get the rest of them and seeing what else they come out with because there's Bayverse prototypes. They have Bayverse, Optimus, and Megatron coming on the horizon, and I'm so excited. Hopefully you Halo people also like Transformers, because Transformers are now becoming a permanent part of my channel. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.